Hello everybody and welcome back to One Nerd to Rule Them All, and in today's video we'll be jumping back into our Horus Heresy series as we look into the life of one of the darkest Primarchs before the heresy, leader of the Death Guard, Mortarion. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So let me introduce you to the Pale King. In a galaxy where gods walk clad in gold and madness whispers from the warp, one figure rose not in glory but in gloom, wreathed in death, clad in rust, and haunted by the poison mists of his past. He was Mortarion, the Pale King, the Reaper who would one day turn his scythe against the Imperium he was forged to defend. Imagine a world where the sun's light never truly breaks through, a planet blanketed in rolling tides of caustic fog, heavy with rot and corrosion. This was Barbarus, a graveyard-made planet where every breath was a death sentence. Above the poisonous mists, the twisted citadels of the Death Lords clawed at the sky. Hulking warlords, part flesh, part sorcery, part living nightmare. They were not men, but warped tyrants who bent the dead to their will, commanding legions of shambling corpses. Below, the scattered human tribes clung to miserable lives on the fog-choked plains. Every dawn might be their last, as the Death Lords descended to harvest new thralls. One night, a stasis pod, flung across the galaxy by cruel chaos, crashed upon Barbarus' highest peaks. Within lay a child, pale as ash, lungs that could drink poison like air, eyes that burned with iron resolve. He was discovered by the greatest of the Death Lords, a being known only as the Warlord. Curious, the Warlord raised the child as his own, and named him Mortarion, Child of Death. Mortarion grew tall, gaunt and strong, but never forgot the hands that taught him warcraft and necromancy were the same that butchered the innocent below. Mortarion's true father was hate. Hate for the overlords who thrived on human misery, hate for the necromancy that mocked death itself, and most of all, hate for his own unnatural kinship with monsters. As he came of age, Mortarion found he could survive deeper into the fog than any other overlord. He discovered the scattered human enclaves and saw firsthand their suffering. To them, he appeared like a spectre, clad in battered armour and a crude rebreather, wielding a scythe, the Reaper who did not harvest souls, but came to protect them. Mortarion rallied the oppressed under a single grim banner. Together, they learned to fight back, forging weapons with salvage, crafting armour and resisting the fog. They called him the Pale King, and they struck terror into the overlords. One by one, these necromantic tyrants fell before Mortarion's wrath, his armies moving like a tide of vengeance through ruined keeps and grey fortresses. Yet, the highest peaks remained beyond reach. The fog there was so thick and toxic that even Mortarion's lungs burned. His flesh blistered under the caustic embrace of the miasma. At last, only the Warlord remained. Driven by burning hate, Mortarion climbed the death-shrouded mountains to face the father who had raised him. As the air turned to acid in his chest, Mortarion stumbled, suffocating, just as the Warlord stepped forth, towering and laughing. But death came not from the Warlord's blade. From the poisonous mist beyond emerged a figure of impossible radiance, clad in golden armour, halo blazing. The Emperor. With a single, effortless blow, the Emperor slew the Warlord. Mortarion, gasping on his knees, saw the greatest enemy fall, not by his hand, but by the hand of a god who he had never known. The Emperor offered Mortarion a place at his side to command his Gene Sons, the 14th Legion, then known as the Dusk Raiders. Mortarion accepted, for the promise of overthrowing tyrants across the stars. Yet deep within, a worm of bitterness coiled. Why had the Emperor stolen his victory? What difference lay between the Overlord's power and the Emperor's psychic sorcery? This seed of resentment took root, unseen, but destined to bloom. Mortarion reforged the Dusk Raiders into his own image, the Death Guard. Warriors without fear of death or decay. They trained to fight in toxic war zones, clad in baroque, corroded armour. Discipline, endurance, and grim resolve became their creed. Their tactics reflected Mortarion's own hatred for weakness. Slow, relentless advances, shrugging off wounds and plagues alike until the enemy's lines broke under unyielding pressure. They bore no ornament nor ostentation, only rust, grime, and silence. Before the Horus Heresy, Mortarion had become both a paragon and a paradox. He waged war to free humanity from tyranny, yet loathed the very emperor he served. He despised witchcraft, yet commanded gene-forged super soldiers, creations of a kind of sorcery themselves. As the Great Crusade advanced, Mortarion grew increasingly cold and withdrawn, haunted by dreams of fog and rot, and by the shadow of a father slain by another's hand. Thus was Mortarion shaped, not in light, but in poison. Born of slaves to monsters, crowned a lord by corpses, his spirit corroded by bitterness and pride. Long before Horus whispered of rebellion, Mortarion was already lost, a pale king doomed to become the Reaper of Souls and the Angel of Decay. This is just the first part in the Mortarion series. I will be doing another video on this. If you enjoyed this video, then please make sure you like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more content like this. I produce Warhammer videos, specifically Horus Heresy videos, every Friday. So if that sounds like something you'll be into, then subscribe. Anyway, that'll be it from me today. Have a wonderful day or night, wherever you are in the world. And as always, bye for now, guys.